Everyone, welcome back again. Thanks for joining us again for this week's Partner Agent webinar on the sales trenches. We're super excited today. We've got Clint Miller from Union here. They're a new partner of ours, and he's got a great solution that's going to help you guys win a bunch of business. So we're really excited to show you all about that. Before we get to Clint and Union, again, um, you guys are you agents are a top priority here. We're committed to bringing you guys solutions and helping you guys win as much business as possible. We provide you and your merchants with the highest level of support and guidance, 24/7 tech support, US based. You guys all have personal relationship managers that you're able to come to with any questions about the best solutions to offer your agents. Again, after we learn about Clint's Union here, if you guys have any questions about, hey, I want to make sure I do a great job presenting Union so that I can sell this particular bar. You want to reach out to your relationship manager and we'll help guide the process, make the appropriate connections, get any materials that are needed from Clint and Union to help you guys win the business. Again, you guys also have a fairly unmatched selection of payment technologies, both software solutions, like we've talked about our Cloud Manager suite recently a lot, and a lot of great hardware solutions and point of sale solutions. But this one that we're unveiling to you all today, this one is very targeted and it's not something that we've had a solution for. So really excited to learn more about Union. So let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen here. I'm going to cover a couple of quick things and then we're going to let Clint show us all about Union. So let me share my screen. Again, so welcome back. Welcome back to the sales trenches. It's going to take a second here. Solution-based selling in the real world. Today's special guest, again, is Clint from Union. A little bit about the sales trenches for those of you that maybe haven't been on previous episodes. Our goal here is to help you go out and win business in the real world, going over real world payment sales conversations. We're going to get a chance to talk with Clint. He's going to give you the things that you should be saying to help win these particular types of merchants over, how to position you and your solution, in this case with Union, competitively. And not a lot of fluff, not a lot of theory, just field tested insight. Okay. Again, we've talked a little bit about Union. I'm sure Clint will tell us some more about it, but Union brands themselves as the only hospitality engagement platform built for and by industry veterans. It's proven to help make bars and bartenders more money. They have the highest satisfaction rating in the industry, and they have a user-friendly mobile app that allows guests to browse menus, order drinks, and pay without waiting. So, and I'm sure he'll tell us a whole lot more about it, but a really cool solution here. So again, Clint Miller, GM at Union. I'm going to stop talking because they didn't come here to hear me talk. They came here to hear you talk. So feel free to go ahead.
Sounds great. Thanks so much, Ryan. I appreciate it. All right, I am going to bring up my slides here. All right, can you see that okay, Ryan?
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. And as people have questions, if I'm not sure if you can enter them in the chat or just hold them to the end, and then we'll address questions. I've got plenty of time.
Yep. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. So again, a lot of you are here on a lot of these webinars. We encourage you to go ahead and type in the chat questions. We do have Eric from our team to help answer any questions, but of course they'll be there where Clint can obviously answer your questions after he's done presenting what he's got. So go ahead, Clint.
Wonderful. Thanks, Ryan. Well, good to meet everybody. So my name is Clint. I'm a general manager here and really kind of focused on partnership efforts, right? So our main go-to-market strategy is working with folks like yourself. We are a technology provider and really an enablement platform for you and when you walk into places that are a great fit for Union. And we offer all kinds of great support around that, right? Whether that's, we can help on the sales cycle front, we can be the solution experts behind the scenes, we can do demos for your customers. I can handle with all that alongside my team. We can also help drive the sales cycle all to closure. And as we'll talk about through onboarding, right? We've got a white glove onboarding experience that's really designed to make sure that customers get onboarded effectively. in a great, in a period they go live. We do installs as well, and make sure that they're up and running and happy and healthy, as well as some care on the customer support and success side going forward. So, Union, we built Union. We really started out kind of like thinking about kind of efficiency, right? And especially that's come to light in the last couple of years, right? Union has really hit on a couple points that a lot of bars and restaurants are really experiencing, right? And that's kind of compression on revenue, and compression on whether that's because rent's gone up, insurance has gone up, staff costs and labor costs have gone up, right? So how does a business owner, have a system? How do they put a system in place that kind of eliminates revenue leakage, that maximizes efficiency, and can operate at the speed that they needed to operate? So that's what we've built. We've been operating, in our form since 2017 when we launched Union POS, and we actually call it Union VOS, Venue Operating System, to kind of eliminate the acronym of POS that can be thrown around in a lot of bad ways. But ultimately, what we're trying to do, we have developed a system, and it is primarily built and dedicated towards very specific parts of the vertical. One is any bar, right? Any place that serves alcohol for on-prem, is essentially a fit for us. Very focused on higher volume bars. And that includes restaurants. Typically, it's going to be your full service restaurants. We're not really interested in QSR, diners, counter service models. It's really typically your full service models, whether that's, utilizing handhelds, KDS, and so forth. But, primarily it's the places that alcohol is a big portion of their business, and efficiency is the name of the game, right? So we do that in a variety of ways. We utilize technology both on the POS front as well as from the guest front to make sure that everybody sees value. So this is kind of bubble chart that you see here, right? The way that we're driving value across the organization or across the venue, one is on the guest side, right? From the guest perspective, if we're driving efficiency throughout the venue, making it easier for them to do the things and punch in the buttons and and get drinks served, obviously guests kind of win there. But we've also got, if you say kind of look to the right here, the guest-led mobile experience. So that what Ryan kind of mentioned there, what we're seeing in the industry, and this is kind of already happening in Europe, that's kind of basically, guest payments from your phone. More and more people are, transacting in all kinds of varieties of life through their phone, right? If you had to bet on a wallet or a cell phone, you're probably, if you're smart, you're betting on the cell phone, right? That's going to continue to rise in terms of utility and what they can do. So what we've done is created a mobile experience that a guest can take upon themselves. They sit down, they sit in a restaurant, they can open up the menu, they can open a tab, they can place an order, they can get notified when their order is ready, or it can be brought out right to them, or anything in between. It's highly flexible. So that way we can work with you to determine what is the right service model. How could this fit into their existing service model, not to displace it, but to enable it. A lot of value on the guest side that we can kind of talk through on how that brings value. But obviously, when a guest utilizes their own phone, our data shows that they spend 28% higher on an average tab size. That's 28% increase. So the more guests that you can have utilizing mobile, the more that they're going to spend with the business. That 28% goes up even higher as we then introduce the brand rewards. So the brand side of that component is where we're running programs with beer, wine, spirit, and NA products to reward a guest for ordering products that are available at that particular merchant. That the brands obviously win on that. They can, they have great insights. They like the idea of like being able to see on-prem data that they've typically not been able to see. But those rewards are then funneled to the guest to help them order those products, order more of those products, and ultimately spend more with the merchant. As I spend more, obviously tips go up, so servers benefit, and those dollars are all funded by Union going directly to the merchant, so the merchant makes more money. And we've got some great case studies that we can show off and talk through about how that all works together. But having a system in place that can drive efficiency, but also proven to help you make more money, help you serve your guests. Your guests can receive their orders in 70% less time. They can pay when they're ready to leave. That can help you turn tables. It can also help your servers cover more tables. So you can run a lot more of efficient business and make more money doing it. So being a POS that has a real ROI is a big time differentiator for us. Why we've built Union, right? We very much set out, and we talked about built by the industry for the industry, right? When we built out our solution, it really started with taking a bunch of folks that we worked with already and in some capacity and saying, well, what are the things that you need? What is the type of system that you need, right? One, it's purpose built. Purpose built meaning like we've taken all those accounts of like, hey, what was great about old Aloha and what was great about Focus and what was great about some of these other legacy systems and kind of incorporated that and then did away with the stuff that wasn't so great. And then also added some features and functionality that was specifically designed to help eliminate and ease some of the pain points that existed. So being purpose built helps it make sure that it's seamless, it's easy to learn. It doesn't take a lot to navigate to do the things that you want to do. We kind of run off of a four-click, four-touch interface. I mean, you can basically do anything that you need to do in 4 clicks or less, helping bartenders, helping servers alike be able to serve more guests more efficiently. And then, of course, enable them with great data and insights on the guest that helps them drive and create a better hospitality experience. What bars, restaurants alike, right? You all have busy hours, right? There's the Friday nights or the Saturdays or the Sunday brunches or whenever that they are most busy. That is the time that any system that you have in place that isn't up to snuff, that's not able to keep up, it's got thousands of open tabs that maybe that slows things down. The transaction takes it takes 30 seconds, right? Any of those things add up over time and ultimately create revenue slippage, right? You are not being able to serve guests in an efficient manner. You're not able to maximize the revenue. So you need a system in place. Union was built to make sure that A, it's efficient, and B, it runs at the speed that you need it to run so that you eliminate as much revenue slippage as you can. And of course, you need reliability. You need support, right? You need a system that knows how to can immediately move into offline mode if your internet goes down or somebody runs into the telephone pole next to you, right? You need the ability to have, what about I've got tons of tabs open at the left at the end of the night. I'm having to individually close those, and some of those are getting declined. We've got solutions to say for that. Transaction recovery is anything that gets declined goes into it where on behalf of the merchant, we take those transactions, we run those transactions every day for the next 30 days until we recover those funds with a recovery rate of about 80% of those funds. Today, most systems, if it declines, you're just stuck, right? And it's nothing that you can do about it. So we've got ways to make sure that you're getting the money that you're owed, including the 20% service charge that you're charging. So your tips and everything are also being included in that. We've got cellular backups, and then more importantly, 24/7 US-based customer support. Ryan's obviously has the support on their end as well. Our technology team is supporting our technology solution. Our support team is all based here. We are located in Austin. We have teams around the US and we serve customers all over in all the 50 states, including provinces and things like that. But we do have 24/7 US-based support team. That means that your customers, you don't have to be afraid to sell into the bars that run until 3 or 4 a.m. and then be afraid that you're going to get calls at 4 a.m., right? That's what our team is there for. The merchants can always call our team. We have visibility to the network. We have visibility to the point of sale. We can help them get them back up and running whenever they need. And then guest led, right? We talked about kind of the maximizing the profits and what that can do. We've got some great stats on that. So I'll show in just another slide on kind of how that works and how that can impact an existing business. Highest rating. So Ryan mentioned that we are very well liked. We think that we have built some of the best software out there, right? In terms of our software and how it's laid out and how it's how quick and how fast and how lightning responsive it is, and then the way it's laid out to just really make it super easy for customers or for servers and bartenders alike to just pick it up. It is always a concern of any merchant, any owner. I'm switching systems. Like, what are the operational headaches? What is the change management aspect of this? How am I going to put in a new system? Is my staff going to like it? Right? It's nice to know that you can be confident that says, hey, everybody that uses this really likes it, right? It is a great system. It is easy to learn. It is intuitive. Obviously, we will help and manage the training aspect of that and rolling it out in a way so that, they're confident and comfortable. But new staff can join, things like that. We've got ongoing training, so that their new employees, their new bartenders that they hire can always continue to join some of our training sessions and get up to snuff. But ultimately, that it's a system that's pretty intuitive and easy to pick up. Types of locations, any bar, as I said, restaurants, but the places where, the busier they are, the more value that we can drive, right? And so, we'll obviously can work with any bar, but the busier they are, the more likely that they're having specific challenges, right? Whether they've outgrown what Clover can do for them, or they're running, or they have Toast and they're the Toast is not that great for tab management and ultimately super busy bars, right? So we've got things against each kind of one out there that's like, hey, when you're super busy, you're likely running into these 4 or 5 challenges. We've got solutions for those 4 or 5. But examples could be Ferg's, it's right there in the middle, huge sports bar. It's probably a city block that has multiple concepts all underneath one roof. They're probably running 30 terminals. They probably do. I know that they did over $200,000 the first Saturday of college football this past year. So that's the kind of volume that we can handle. But obviously, all the way downstream too, right? We're a great solution, especially for anybody that can see value in guest-led ordering. Qualifiers. So, our biggest qualifier is, do they sell alcohol for on-prem? But when you're talking to a merchant, you're kind of looking around, looking at kind of their service model. Things to look for are they doing $70,000 a month? Are they doing more than $70,000 a month? That's obviously an easy characteristic that says, okay, they're probably running into some of the challenges that we specifically solve for. Not to say we can't solve for a person that's doing $30,000 a month, but if you're only doing $30,000 a month, you might be fine with some other basic systems that do what you needed to do and don't necessarily need Union. Um, Most of the sales, like we do say, like a lot of the sales come from a mainstream bar. These aren't hard numbers. Obviously, we can serve anybody that's around this as well. On the right-hand side, though, I'll call attention to the right-hand side because these are always really great ways to have conversations, and the conversations around you know, how well, what is your service model? Are you running into, pain points? Are you running into friction areas? Do your, how well do you think that your servers are covering existing tables, right? Would a solution that could help drive more efficiency on the server side be beneficial, right? If they haven't moved to handhelds, maybe they've already moved to handhelds and they're thinking, well, what if you could put a handheld in every single person's pocket across the bar? Would that drive efficiency, right? That's what guest-led ordering is, right? And guest-led ordering, again, flexible in the sense I can simply just open and close my tab, or I can place an order or anything in between, or use it as a digital menu only. But these kind of ones in blue on the right are ones that you can help qualify. Is this a place, a really good fit where they could see a lot of value from guest-led ordering? What that guest-led ordering looks like. Here is the flow. So the flow could be, I walk into a bar, go to a patio bar, I sit down at the tab, or I sit down at a table. There is an NFC puck on the table. I can tap that NFC puck. Maybe it's a QR code that I can then, bring up a menu. What we've done, we've utilized a lightweight app clip technology that immediately launches on the phone. So there's no barrier to entry. You don't have to download an app, but it is an app-like experience. It's a mobile app experience, which gives a couple benefits. One is it's just an easier user interface. It's more native. It's slicker and easier to use. Secondly, it also gives access to the, ongoing pieces of the phone, right? You can go, it automatically incorporates your digital pay piece of that, whether that's Apple Pay or Google Pay or whatever that might be. You can navigate the menu. You can go in items. You can add items. You can easily one click of a button to reorder the same item. It ties you to a particular table. So when I put my order in, it's open up on the point of sale. So the other key components that I like to call out on mobile is One, it works seamlessly within the existing system. So you're not talking to the merchant about kind of, getting rid of their servers and going to a, robot only kind of atmosphere, right? It is works seamlessly with the existing POS. I open my phone, I look at the menu, the server can still come by. They can still take my order. They can type it into their handheld. They can type it into the POS. I just now control it from my own phone. The other aspect is it's different than a lot of the other players out there that are, typically kind of just software only players where you go to a web page, you pick out a product, you check out with Apple Pay. Sure, that's great for Toast Tab for sure because they charge 15 cents a transaction. So they're not interested in running a tab. They're interested in individual transactions because that's how they make money. We're helping enable them by you're actually opening the tab. That tab is open. I can access it. The server, the bartenders can all access it as well. So that solves for the, kind of the undue like additional charges that a merchant would go when they start moving into this area. It also solves for just ultimately like what the, a lot of studies out there. New York Times wrote a study recently on Gen Z and their drinking preferences, right? One being that they're not drinking as much, but secondly, that the trend now is that they're not opening tabs like they used to. They're closing their individual transaction every time. And a lot of that is because they crave more control over what they spend. We are solving for that because now instead of handing a card over, not knowing and not having visibility to your tab, not being afraid that, oh, somebody's putting, drinks on my tab, I don't know how much I've spent, and then I close out at the end of the night and it's like way more than I thought. We've solved for that, still helping them open their tab, still hoping that merchants keep down those transaction costs. But the fact that they can now see the tab in their hand whenever they're ready, they say, you know what, I came in here to spend $35. I'm at 35.07. All right, I'm just going to close out and I'm going to leave, right? They have that in their pocket. So that solves for that. Then, of course, the benefit of the reward component is that they are getting rewarded for buying products that are already carried by the merchant. We are funding those rewards the day of. So if I see this High West Old Fashioned, $7 off, maybe it's a $10 drink, they get $7 off. That means they pay three, we pay seven. As far as the merchant is concerned, they collect every bit of that. But because they're taking advantage of those brand programs, they're spending 28 or higher percent on an average tab, taking advantage of that. So how that transforms and how that kind of drives revenue. 28% higher. So if you have 12,000 monthly checks, if you just get 30% of those guests shifting to mobile, that's an extra, $5,400 in revenue that we can help generate that month, right? If we are then adding on additional mobile claims, and this is a very conservative number, you can see this is $70,000. This particular example is $70,000 more that we helped that bar generate last year. Bolden Acres place it here in Austin. We did a study with them. There's a case study that we've published. I think they did almost $100,000 in more revenue last year. So it can make a significant impact on there, not only on the efficiency side, right? If you think, well, I don't have to bring in as many servers and bartenders on a weekend because now I can run a little bit more efficiently. So you're saving on the efficiency side as well. So there's a very kind of compounding impact that we can have there. Why we are different, we're built for high volume hospitality, right? There's a lot of solutions out there that kind of can be both coffee shops, diners, retail. There's a lot of them out there that are kind of spread fairly wide. I like to say so a lot of places out there, good at a lot of things, great at nothing, right? We're really focused on being great at serving the industry that we're focused on, and we want to continue focusing on that industry, right? Giving that white glove US-based support. Our onboarding teams, they're very equipped. They work really hard to make sure that when we onboard new customers, we are going through a very rigorous process of building out their menus to their specifications, reviewing it with them, doing the network walkthrough, making sure that everything's right so that when we training the staff so that when we come out and we install, everything is right from day one. And then that data layer, the data layer really helps both fuel rewards. It helps personalize the guest-led experience. And when I say personalize the guest-led experience, when I open my tab with mobile, that information, that is a profile of me. We have loyalty, and I can talk about what our loyalty looks like in a bit, but we have all that great guest level information is surfaced during the experience for the merchant. So you can imagine if your server came over, I've already opened my tab. They say, here's Clint. His last visit was in March. He, loves Tito's and soda. He, don't give him Jaeger bombs. Whatever insights it might be, he's a great tipper, right? All this insight is on my profile. That's all surfaced to the servers, the bartenders, right? Is he a VIP customer because he spends an X number of dollars in here? That is great insights that we serve. So we think about guest-led ordering, not removing the need for servers, but enabling the servers to spend more time getting to know, understanding the guest, creating a better hospitality experience for the guest. Because now some of the just typical ordering things, or it could just be time, right? If the time of like server walks to me, they take my order, they take it back to the bartender, they do it, they have to bring the drink back to me. You've eliminated all those existing friction points and barriers, things that take time. Or if I'm just simply ready to leave because my kids are losing their mind, I can just close out and I can go, right? So that can turn tables faster. And then, of
Really
course,
fast. We're,
yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
Let me know really fast. Guys, we're going to run over today. We're going to stay on because Clint's got a lot of great info for us here and we want to answer questions. Just want you to know that if you do have a hard stop and you have to run, this webinar will be up live on YouTube probably, in the next few days, probably by early next week. So just reach out to me or your relationship manager if you need to get the recording. We'll make sure we got that for you. But go ahead, Clint.
Yeah, thanks. Absolutely. So, a couple new things. We've got some new products and new features that we've rolled out this year. First and foremost is loyalty, right? Especially on the restaurant side, you're seeing a lot of need for loyalty out there. Our loyalty platform that we've rolled out, automatic rewards, zero friction, right? A merchant can turn this on and say, we're going to give out a point per dollar spent, and after 200 points, they're going to get $10 off or whatever that they might do, right? So that helps facilitate the creation of a customer profile. The customer profile also enables you to capture emails, names, not only history, phone numbers, right? And it ties it to a phone number as the customer record so that as you use multiple cards, it's tied to a phone number. So it bridges across all of those different cards. So that's important too, kind of knowing your kind of holistic view of your customer. But that is a great tool. You own that data. So the merchant owns all of that data. We don't do anything with it. You own that customer data. You obviously can then use that data to export it and run your own kind of marketing campaigns. But from a loyalty standpoint in the venue, we're giving you capabilities. We're giving the merchant capabilities to run a loyalty program, help customers keep coming back, spending more with you, and it's visible to the customer, right? This isn't some back end database like some of the ones that are out there where I'll do something with it after the fact. They can actually see it in the venues. They see it right there on their phone. Where is my status bar? How close am I to a reward, right? And then when they reach that reward, it automatically redeems it. That's another thing. Merchants don't necessarily like a liability report of a lot of like rewards that are sitting out there, like on the liability side. We're going to automatically redeem it for them. So it makes sure that the customer is seeing value in it and it keeps them coming back. You can set all kinds of great stuff, bonuses for first times or, multipliers for if you're a VIP stuff. But, the left-hand side, you saw that the status, right? Yeah, that is the status. That is the loyalty. So it's right there on the customer too, so that the merchant can see it, the server can see it. The next component that we had that we released earlier this year is new changes on the reporting side. So on the reporting side, we've done a lot of great things to build out more capability with our reports. Standard reports obviously are there, people that need the standard reports, but there is true build your own report capability, right? I can go in and I can create a new report. I can drag in the columns and all the things that I want to see, and I can customize that report and have that emailed to myself every 9 a.m. on a Monday, or I can save it as a dashboard in my favorites. The other cool thing that we did was we brought in AI technology into our reports. There's an AI prompt now that exists. So any merchant could go into that AI prompt. They can type in free text, whatever it is they're looking for. They could say, can you forecast my sales for this upcoming May month? Or can you identify theft patterns in my employees? You can type in anything that you want. It's going to generate, it's going to look through that data. It's going to analyze that. It's going to offer up, additional prompts to get different levels of insight. You can turn any of that reports or any of the feedback into a custom saved report for ongoing use. Our setup. So we've got we are programmed in iOS. So iOS has been really great for us. It's very responsive. It's essentially waterproof and really resistant and lasts forever, right? I've got my kids are using like 15-year-old iPads, it seems like, right? And they still run. So that's been great. That will include all the software upgrades will continue to come through, but the hardware is really kind of built to last. The newest piece that we released last year, what's called Union Pocket. It's not coming soon anymore. It's here. It's been out for the past 6 or 7 months. And that is our iPhone capability handheld. So if you're a server-driven environment, you're utilizing server handhelds. iPhones have been really popular, really well received. iPhones are great because the battery life on a lot of the products that are out there from a handheld perspective are to be desired. With an iPhone, it's simply an iPhone. There's no card reader. It's not like two components all into one case, right? It is just an iPhone. It's waterproof. It's shock resistant. You don't drop it. It doesn't go into tamper mode. It will continue to last. Battery life lasts 14 hours or so. And it's portable. It's easy to slip into a pocket. People don't necessarily wear aprons anymore. The other cool component of that is we're utilizing the NFC technology on the phone. So from a payment perspective, you're simply tapping a card with an NFC chip to the iPhone itself. It takes the payment. So that really streamlines a lot of that stuff. It also helps them that they can use that as a way to opt into loyalty programs as well. Bottom right is a KDS. We've got KDS solutions as well. So anything that kind of any full serve restaurant would need, we've got. Support, obviously, we have all kinds of marketing material, things like that. Ryan, if you don't already have it, I can make sure that you have all the right links to this stuff. If you have your own internal site, you can put it on that, or you can kind of guide people to our whole agent repository that's got great case studies, flyers, material. We have a Canva file that you can co-brand some stuff and put some stuff out as well. Um, Pricing, we can kind of talk through that. Scheduling stuff. So how to get support, right? Support can be, as you can talk to your team leads or your kind of RMs, they can get in touch with me. The demos can be scheduled through a form. You can send out a form. Here's some information on what I need. I need a demo support. I need to, get that done. Obviously, I can then come in and do those demos, or my team can do those demos. Typically takes about 60 minutes to go through everything in depth. Or your teams will have my information. You can kind of free flow kind of text me or reach out to me as well through email. And onboarding process, we do have a nice onboarding process. I'd say please keep in mind that it is about 4 weeks, right? A lot of that long tent pole is a lot of times the menu or just simply getting the merchant to show up to meetings, right? I mean, you know how it is, right? But so please keep that in mind so we can set realistic expectations, right? I don't want anybody that's like, I have to be installed, next Monday. Is that possible, right? No, it's not. And unless you're going to go buy a Square terminal at Best Buy, right? It's probably not feasible. So make sure you're setting those expectations. More than likely we are doing more like 4 weeks now, but a lot of times things come up on the customer side, getting menu information from them, making sure that we can review the menus and go through. Merchant training, we have those ongoing trainings, front of the house, back of the house trainings. So we incorporate those in any new person that's coming on, but we also have those ongoing for anybody new that joins the merchant organization and needs to get trained. Of course, our support. The other key component, and I'd say to wrap this up a bit, we are capable of handling everything from the sales cycle, the demo, putting the paperwork together, getting that signed, all the way through onboarding and ongoing support. We are happy for anyone that wants to take the reins on some of those aspects, right? So we have plenty of people that, I want to be a union certified person, right? I want to have a demo in my hand. I want to be an expert on positioning union so I can go into the merchant myself and pull up a demo unit and do that. We have those certification programs. Ryan, I'll make sure you have all the certification stuff that you can send out to the team. Anybody that's interested in that and wants to take some of those reins, absolutely welcome to do that. And that includes installation, right? If you're a technical expert and you want to learn how to do that, I'd recommend probably doing one or two with us side by side. But then as you kind of get comfortable, if you want to take on that installation component of that with us just supporting from our Austin office, that's okay as well. All right. And then we focus everything within the venue. And then outside of the venue, we focus on integrations, right? Our integrations, our APIs, that doesn't cost anything additional. You'll pay something to Factor 4, you'll pay something to ETAB or R365. But, ultimately we partner with a lot of the industry leading integrations out there. So that way, whatever their needs are, right? I use OpenTable for reservations and I use Craftable for inventory, right? Those are all possible. We also have a great, list of things that aren't even on this list. So let's say they're using, some other payroll provider and they're interested in new stuff. We're like, well, hey, try 7 shifts or try this. And we've got a lot of different components out there so we can make sure. I think that's always important to think about, like solution selling, right? Depending on who you're ripping out and who you're changing things out with. A lot of times they're using either third-party solutions or the provider that they have. So Toast is a great example of that. They've got payroll and they've got human resources and employee benefits and they've got inventory management, right? So ripping that out without having a full kind of holistic view of a solution for them is going to be really hard. But we've got the industry capabilities and different partnerships to make sure that you can like bring to bear something that really replaces and up levels what they have today. All right, guest led experience. I mentioned, you can do a lot of different, it's very flexible. So kind of I'll end here, but I like the idea of kind of guest led. It's a really great conversation. It's really something that you can do. You can pull it up from your own phone. You can show them the mobile experience. You can show it exactly what it could look like for them. But the important part is it's very flexible. So if you're a sports bar and everybody's kind of seated and, on patios and at tables and things like that, guest led ordering, absolutely. If you're a college bar and you're wall to shoulder, or, you're all kind of in there packed up and everybody's at the bar, then obviously what we're going to do is recommend, hey, you know what you can do? You can simply let them open and close their tab, but you don't let them order because logistically that just wouldn't make any sense. Or they could just use it as a menu, right? So it's very flexible. It's designed to fit and enable their existing service model, not remove or take away. So that's another key element because you will undoubtedly get pushback on, oh, well, we're old school, or my patrons are old, or we're an old school. We like the hospitality aspect of that, and that's where we have to lean in. You're like, hey, this is actually helping you create a better hospitality experience, right? This is creating great information on your guests. The brand portion is meant to be a value add for them. And then that great insight is then available to the server so they can create a better hospitality experience. You can have those better touch points and more effective touch points and more impactful touch points to make sure the guest is really feeling taken care of. All right. Let me stop there, Ryan, and then back over
Sure.
to you and see if there's any questions.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of questions that have come in. I mean, obviously, you guys, our agents, you're gonna be able to do the payment processing through Host here. We did get a question about port control, but I'd like to be able to, limit is there anything in there to be able to like limit the number of drinks being served? Is that something that you're able to
Yeah, so
build into the
drinks being
system?
served by if you're utilizing guest led.
Hmm.
So you can do a couple things, right? I mean, we are not any technology piece that you use, you still are still ultimately liable for serving underage or serving intoxicated customers or doing whatever. And so there you have full control over the tab. And so we've got plenty of spots that basically said, well, when I bring that drink over and I'm handing you that drink that you just ordered, I'm still responsible for, measuring whether you're inebriated. And if you are inebriated, I can always put a mark on your profile. So the next time that you order a drink, I already know that, hey, this person, I can't just serve here. I need to go make that double check. Um, we could, we've thought about that and we've had that request. There's several counties out there that have put all kinds of laws in place that you can only serve X number of drinks per guest and things like that. We've thought about putting some sort of throttling or control over there. That doesn't exist today, but there's a lot of flexibility in terms of how you want to roll that out. A lot of that is, it's same kind of thing. The concept goes to underage people, right? You still probably have the operationally, someone that comes over to the table, they look at the guest, they ID where necessary. If they want to change that tab to ID'd okay or not okay, then they can absolutely do that. So that if someone were to order a drink that's not able to have that drink, you see that on the ticket itself, so you know not to make it.
Gotcha. And just to clarify the question, he was saying that sometimes there's an issue of bartenders giving away free drinks or overpouring. Is there anything to be able
So yeah, you're
to
talking
track
about
that?
yeah. So in that case, yeah, overpouring things like that. Well, there are a couple things that we can do. One is there are companies like Beer Board and I Pour It and yeah, several other of our integrated solutions that will track both the physical, they have a physical environment of a whatever. We have integrations with them if you want to track the physical pouring and measure the lines and do all that kind of stuff. That's quickly moving more towards a digital only solution. So something like Beer Board that does all the variance reporting, and Craftable has something similar to that. With the new, kind of AI concepts and things that are coming out there, I think AI is going to really kind of eliminate and make that super easy. I mean, you're going to be in an area where you can just basically take a picture of your bar and it can go figure all of that out. So we're partnering with solutions that do that. We do have great controls over we do have great controls over making sure that people aren't, discounting things unnaturally or adding spills or adding kind of comps and voids, right? You can have controls over these set of employees can request those types of things, but then the managers actually have to see it and approve it. So you have controls over what you can do on the point of sale, so that you can, have a better handle on what your employees are doing. The other really cool thing that I've come across is a company that we integrate with called Solink. And Solink is they're a company that kind of ties cameras that you have. So if you have security cameras in the car, in the bar, whether that's closed caption or whatever, that would tie that to the POS. And they've got a really great AI technology as well that you could, hey, are all my tables ready at 8 a.m.? Or you could say, well, show me all the transactions that occurred on the POS when anybody touched the top shelf of liquor, right? So you can do all kinds of great stuff with that. But we've been integrating with that. So if somebody's looking at better tools to really monitor staff and monitor the transactions that are occurring to try to eliminate some of the theft that could go on.
This this series again is about helping our agents get out there and win more business. For those agents that maybe haven't targeted this vertical in the past, or this is going to be a new thing for them, can you talk a little bit about, what they should be if they're going to go into a bar tomorrow and they want to try to position themselves to win the deal with Union? What are some of the pain points? What are some of the right questions that they should be asking those bar owners to help kind of get their foot in the door?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to, understand their service model, to understand what system they have, and then kind of equipping yourself with, if they're using X system, here are probably the challenges that you're running into, right? I think it is very hard sometimes to dig into, getting getting to the root of like what's the, challenges that they have, right? You might ask them on the first ask and it's, oh, everything runs okay, it's fine, right? And so you need to sometimes know and try to highlight either things that Union does really well or things that that their existing system doesn't do so well, so you can really get to the root of that, right? I mean, in a sales world, like money follows pain, right? So being able to ask really, really good questions and uncover real pain points and find a reason for them to move and painting the picture of, "Wait, here's the future environment and here's what you're going to do." Those are always good tools to have, right? Whether it's tell me about your busiest hour of your Friday night, right? Are transactions running effectively? Is your tab management working okay? Are you left open with open tabs at the end of the night that you're individually closing? Do you have problems with declines and would a solution around that help? What if you could, reduce the time from a drink being ordered to a drink being delivered on a guest table, or reduce the time of tables that you're turning? Would that make an impact on your business? Those are all good things to start digging into and asking. It's also great to just, blue sky a little bit with them, right? Well, what do you envision? Like, where's your bar going to be in the next 5 years? What's that going to look like? Are you expanding, opening new locations, moving a location, all those kind of things? That's always great to get them talking about what they want to do. So you can really paint a picture of a solution that's going to fit that and make sure that it enables them to take the next step in their business evolution.
Anything specific off the top of your head that, like, if they walk in and they see this is a bar using Toast, this is a bar using Square, you know, I know that this is a particular thing that they're probably struggling with that Union's got a great fix for
Yeah, sure. Let's see. SkyTab, if you're using SkyTab, you're probably upset about some of the fees that got assessed at the end of the year and all the ones that they assessed at the middle of last year, right? So you're getting new fees that are adding on. All of a sudden, you're getting assessed with $200 per terminal fees or $250 per terminal fees, and some big PCI compliance fee that had a hit at the end of the year. So you're upset about that. If you're on Toast, they just did a rate change, right? They just updated in March. They raised their rates as well as their monthly fees across a lot of their customer base. So you're kind of rare probably about that right now. So those are other things. If they're using Toast in a bar, how well is that tab management working for you? You're a place that opens tabs. If you're using Toast, a lot of Toast traditional stuff, if you're doing pre-auth, Toast would make you swipe the card and either hold on to that card or hand that card back to the customer. Then when you close that transaction, you're closing it as a swipe transaction, not a PCI compliant chip transaction. Therefore, if there is a chargeback that occurs, you'll never win it. With Union, you're always going to dip the card. It's going to make you dip the card if it has a chip. That's going to protect you from a lot of interests. If you're using Spot On, you probably have really poor offline capabilities. So you're struggling with that if you're in a place that the internet is spotty. If you're using Genius, then you don't even have a real handheld solution, right? So, and you're a restaurant that needs handhelds, right? So those are some of the things off the top of my head that, I think that's why it's always kind of important to know what system they have and then just have a little bit kind of knowledge about what are the things that kind of they lack on that end, right? We try to keep some of that up to date. We do have some battle cards and things that are in our customer repository. We'll continue to try to keep those up to date. But I'm always here to help strategize on any existing deal. You're like, hey, I just walked in here. They're using X, Y, or Z. How would you position that? But I think the efficiency piece, I think the guest slide ordering piece, and then obviously, what we bring to bear as a partnership here is that you are able to set them up on a processing rate and that works for them. And then they've got a technology provider behind the scenes that's doing everything to make them successful, right? That's the partnership, and that's how that value works, especially if they're beholden to SkyTab and Shift4 or any of the systems that Shift4 recently built or bought, or a Toast that just, ultimately that their biggest complaints are probably fees.
And you circle back really fast on the hardware and tech and just costs, SaaS fees, stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So our hardware, so a terminal is 11.99. A iPhone handheld, they are able to self-source iPhones, right? You can buy an iPhone all the way backwards compatible to iPhone 13. They could buy them from us. They can buy them from anywhere. And we use Epson printers, 299 for an Epson printer, and a cash drawer are all pretty standard. So in total, a whole system, like a whole terminal, cash drawer, and printer is about 1660 with us. That would be $89 a month on the SaaS, and it's $39 a month on the SaaS for a handheld. What we want to be is very straightforward, so there's not a lot of additional fees. You use that, the SaaS pays for everything, right? That SaaS comes included with online ordering. It comes included with guest led ordering. It comes included with our 24/7 support. It comes included with, the loyalty piece. All that stuff is all baked in so that there's no kind of surprises and nickel and diming that's going on from us, right? So that's how that's been. So it's super straightforward.
Is there anything for monitoring like inventory levels and stuff like that?
Yeah, so our system is designed to basically track everything that's going out the store. So depletion reports, PMIX reports, everything that's going out. If you're interested in inventory, that might have to be, some of that is a conversation. Well, what are you using today? So if you're using extra chef with toast, for instance, well, how do you use it, right? Is it COGS reporting? Is it variance reporting? Is it ordering and reordering and auto invoicing? Depending on what they need, we can make recommendations on that. But we do have third parties. That's where Craftable, R365, Margin Edge, Buyer's Edge, And then some of the other alcohol only players out there do all of those things that we integrate with.
Gotcha. Anything regarding payroll taken care of in here, or is it just on
We
the
don't, yeah, we're
drinks?
not a payroll provider. We will capture all time cards, all the reports. You can export that in a variety of formats and send that over to payroll providers. We do have integrated partners with 7 Shifts. So if you're interested in using 7 Shifts reporting, they also do, tip pooling. They also do scheduling. So depending on kind of what they're looking at, but we do have some integrated partners, but there's lots of different payroll providers that our customers use that you can just export from our system and send it right to there.
Gotcha. Were there any lease options on the hardware, or is it just you got to pay for it in full?
So it is a buy. It's always kind of a purchase from there. We do have lots of if you're kind of aware of what others in the industry are doing, right? Spot On's been doing this. I've seen it more and more with Toast, where they're basically doing like kind of a flat rate all in kind of thing. So in those cases, you're able to do that same kind of thing where you could buy the equipment on their behalf and lease it back to them, or just roll that in based on the flat rate. You can do all that. We are rolling out some additional financing options. So from your perspective, you use us to do a little bit of financing. We're rolling that out super slow, but it is something that's coming down the road. But then there's a lot of other partners that either they can do those kind of financing options, or there's third-party leasing companies that we're happy to recommend as well if the merchant's looking for a leasing opportunity and they need to go through a third party.
The reward system is really cool. I'm curious. Maybe you could expand on it a little bit more. So there's it looks like brand subsidized rewards, like the merchant that's $7 off a particular drink or something like that. You said the merchant's not paying for it, and that's some sort of partnership that you guys have
That's right. We have a we have
with that
a
third
we
party
have a
brand.
portion of our business. We have a portion of our business
Mhm.
that is their focus is working with brands, and so they might have a conversation with Lalo. Lalo says, "You know what? I'd love for you to run a trial where you can get 20,000 people to try my product." What's interesting to them is that 20,000 people, do they reorder it? Do they go to another bar and order it again? Like, what's their drop-off rate? Ultimately, in the brand world, you make about 30% of your profits on-prem and 70% of your profits off-prem. So really, and then where you convert users are in cool bars, right? You don't convert them for the Dollarita at whatever, right? You convert them at like the cool cocktail bar down the street. So we are working with them to help incentivize, whether this be existing big brands like Bud Light that needs to regain market share because of whatever the things that they did the other year, or it could be the newest celebrity-owned tequila that's interested in getting their product out there. We help in a variety of ways of kind of partnering that. So we help venues kind of that already have that product or they pick up that product. So you're right in terms of the funding ultimately kind of comes from them, but they see the value in the data that they see in the on-prem world of consumption data that they've typically been blinded to because they are blinded because of through the distributor model. And then in the 4-tier states like Texas, the additional wholesale layer.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, like you were saying earlier that Gen Z is more kind of cost conscious. I think everyone's a lot more cost conscious nowadays, right? So like this is a solution where you can go out and basically tell people, hey, or tell the bars themselves, hey, you're going to be able to get people a night out, right? More affordably for them. You're not losing money either, right? So like if I'm gonna go to a place that has specials from Union, I know I'm gonna be able to go and I'm gonna get a discount. I know I'm gonna get some money off, and I'm gonna be able to go out for less.
That's
So
right.
that's really
Yeah.
cool.
It's like a happy hour that you don't, for the merchants, like it's like a
Hmm.
happy hour that's it's always running, and B, you're not taking the hit, right? And
Yep.
C, the servers aren't taking the hit because they're still tipping on the gross, not the net.
Mhm.
So it's really kind of a win all the way around.
And then the merchant rewards, like the $10 off for a first time guest, that they're covering, right? So some of
That
this
they're
is being
covering.
covered.
Exactly. So that is something
Okay.
that they can turn on and cover at their own cost, but that's just because, so many people are kind of looking for loyalty platforms to help kind of drive traffic and repeat traffic.
Gamifying going out. People have got they're saving here with this, they're saving there with that, and they're having a good time. This is really cool. And I would guess also this reward situation. We did a special on sticky solutions, the importance of getting your merchants to sign up for sticky solutions like reward programs. The more, if you're able to get the merchant using your particular reward program, it's going to make it harder for them to leave and break up with you.
That's correct.
So that's great
Yeah,
stuff. Well,
and I think it's important, right? It's important to fit put in the right solution, right? So encourage all of you and always kind of be very thoughtful and mindful of your merchant, right? Of what their merchant needs are, right? The lowest cost solution is not always the best solution and may end up cost you twice as much down the road because we have it time and time again where we have a agent that said, you know what, I placed this one system. They're mad about it. It's 6 months later. Now I got to go buy your system to put it in there to save this account. So it actually costs them a lot more than they originally thought. So be very mindful about putting in the right solution, a solution that you can be confident that is going to do the work for them so that they're going to be a merchant with you, processing with you for many, many years.
love it. All right. Well, let me go ahead and wrap up here. And guys, if you
Yeah,
have any
thanks.
additional questions or if we didn't get to some of it today, remember, reach out to your relationship manager. We'll get it answered. If you have anyone that is interested or you think might be interested in Union, remember, contact your RM, your relationship manager here at Host. We'll get you any materials you need. We'll help facilitate getting the demos scheduled. So again, reach out to us. We'll connect with Clint and his team, and we'll make sure you guys get a demo so that they can help you win your business.
All right.
We went way over today, but this was great. I appreciate the time, Clint. Everyone, thanks so much for joining us today. We're going to be back in the trenches again next week, really fast. I'll share my screen here. Here we go. So special for next week is we're going to be going over Cloud Time Manager, which we talked about all the different softwares that we have for you guys. Um, Time tracking software, again, like with all the rest of the Cloud Manager software, there's going to be free tools that you're going to be able to offer to your merchants to help win business, right? So um, again, just looking to pour into you guys, pun intended, today, and bring you guys as much value as we can and give you more tools to win. So thanks so much for joining. Clint, again, thanks so much for your time. Talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Eric. Thank you, everybody.